Hi everyone, welcome to episode 3 of the Bobbles Berries Podcast. My name is Ode and I'm coming to you from Edinburgh in Scotland. This is my podcast where I share all about my knitting, mostly sewing as well, and this week I have a little bit of crochet for you. Before we start, I just want to say thank you so much. If you have watched before, if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for leaving comments. I replied to all of them. I really enjoy reading them. Thank you for the little thumbs ups and all of this. I'm really, really grateful. And if it's the first time that you're watching this, then you are very welcome. Some things that I want to say before we jump right into the content, because my podcasts tend to be a bit long, so I don't want to waffle on before starting. Like I announced in the last episode, we're going to do a giveaway this time. It's just my way of saying thank you. I think we're over like 600 of us right now on this podcast, and it blows my mind, and you've all been so nice and so supportive and so everything good that I thought I was gonna do a little giveaway, so just to say thank you. So I will talk about all of this towards the end of the episode, but I will also have timestamps for all the sections, so if you want to jump right into the giveaway, that's also very cool. So that will happen towards the end of the episode. I record this monthly. It's like I can't really do any more often than that because of work and life and things. So I record this monthly, so the giveaway will be announced at the end of this episode, and then I'll announce the winner in the next episode. And I guess it will stay open the whole time, like, until I record next. So yeah, but more about this later. So like I said, I have 3 types of crafts to share with you today. I have sewing, crochet, and knitting, and I'm gonna do this in that order. I had a bit of sewing in the previous episode, and I sort of added it to the rest of my knitting, in that like I did like finished objects first and then works in progress, and then I just threw in the sewing in there. But I think what I'm gonna do now, and what I might do in the future, is instead of organizing by finished objects and whips, I was gonna do by crafts. So I'm gonna do sewing first this time, and then crochet, and then knitting. And again, like I said, I have timestamps, and so if you're interested in one and not the other, then you can easily jump and find the crafts that you want to hear about. Speaking of hearing, I don't know if the cat is behind the door and she's meowing. She doesn't like closed doors, she likes to be around, but if I let her in, she's just gonna be all over my yarn, which I don't want her to do this right now. So I think she'll calm down in a bit, and my husband is gonna go and give her some attention. Right, so I guess let's jump right in. I don't think I forgot anything that I wanted to say before we start. And if I do, then I'll just say it later. So sewing, I'm gonna start with sewing, and I'm gonna start with what I'm wearing now, because this is a garment that I made for myself. It's a dress. I'm gonna see if I can stand up so you can see it. Maybe I'll move the chair. I'll explain more, but I don't want to talk and not show my face in case people read lips. So I'm just gonna twirl, and then I'll come and talk to you about the dress. All right, let me put the chair back. Right, so this is the cami dress. This is the pattern that I use. It's a pattern by Pauline Alice Sewing Patterns, and so it comes into there's 2 types of dresses. So there's this one that has darts at the waist is a bit more fitted, and then there's this one that doesn't have any darts at all and a little pocket, although you can put the pocket anywhere. And so this one just has buttons down, and that's how you put it on. And this one has some buttons, but also you have an invisible zip on the side. So I made this one with the 3/4 length sleeves. So this is what I made. The fabric that I use is a brushed cotton that I bought from a shop, or like an online shop. I think they have an actual shop. It's in London. It's called Fabric Galore. I buy it online because, like I said, I live in Edinburgh, not in London. And yeah, it's a tartan brushed cotton. I think when I posted it on Instagram, some people said it was the is it called the Black Watch tartan, but I'm not sure, because if you can look, this one has a bit of yellow in it, and I don't think the Black Watch one has any yellow. But anyway, brushed cotton, if you don't know what it is, it's kind of in between a regular cotton and flannel, in that one side is more like regular cotton, and then the inside is fluffy like a flannel. So it's very, very soft, quite drapey, not as drapey as some other fabric like viscose or something, but fairly drapey and quite warm because of the brushed side that traps air, and so it makes you warmer. I ordered, for whatever reason, I ordered the fabric to make this dress specifically, but for whatever reason I ordered 3.5 meters, which is a huge amount. It was fine, it wasn't a really expensive fabric, but I really only needed 2 meters to make the dress. So now I have 1.5 meters left, which is actually quite nice because I can make a shirt out of 1.5 meters of fabric. So I will be making a shirt, like a flannel kind of shirt. I have a pattern in mind, but I haven't tried it out yet. So I'll tell you all about it in a future episode. So the pattern is, I don't know where the designer is from, because I think on their Instagram it says Valencia, which is in Spain. But I don't know if that's where they're from, or just where they live, or just where the company is, or whatever. But the pattern comes in English, Spanish, and French. I got the print version, but it's also available as a PDF that you can then print at home and then assemble and all of this. And it comes in size 34 through 48. So that would be European sizes, which I think, I don't really know. I think usually in European sizes, I'm like between like 36 and 38, and in UK sizes that makes like 8 and 10, I think. I don't know. In any case, it's always better to, like, instead of just going by the size, just like actually use the measurement and do all of this. Which is like, I really like this pattern too, because in the back, I don't know if you can see, it has like your body measurement that you can like work with, and I guess the finished garment measurement, which is really nice because then you can play around with the ease that you want or don't want. And yeah, usually when they have these on patterns, I use the finished garment measurement to decide which size to make, so I can get the fit that I want. So yeah, so that's the pattern, that's the fabric. I made a size, so I had to grade, I guess that's what you call it, the pattern quite a bit, because around the chest, my bust measurement is a size 36, so UK 8, but then my waist is a bit larger than a UK 6 or UK 8, like a 36, and then my shoulders are wider usually than whatever a size 36 call for. So so I did 36 here, but then I think I did 40 or 42 for the shoulders. And so I graded the pattern here. I retraced the line, like around the armhole line. And then the waist, I think I did a size 38, or maybe I did 40. I can't remember. And then, well, the hips, because it's a skirt, it doesn't really matter what your measurements are. I actually think I cut the skirt, the smallest size that they have. The skirt is basically 2 rectangle that you sew together, and then you gather to make it fit the waist. And so I made it the smaller width that they had, just because I don't like it when there's a lot of gathering around the waist. It's just a personal taste. Obviously, you do whatever you want. But so I usually reduce the width of skirt pieces all the time when I sew. I did make, I'm just looking at my notebooks, I remember what I wanted to say. I did make a mock-up of the bodice part just to make sure that it fit properly before cutting the fabric, because I knew I had to make a lot of adjustments. I didn't want to cut the fabric in the wrong way and then like potentially not be able to use it. So I did a mock-up out of some old, like an old bedsheet that I had. And that was very useful because I had to modify quite a bit after that. I changed the sleeves. I just did a simple, a very basic rolled hem, like you fold it twice and then you sew. Because if you look on the pattern itself, the sleeves are like this, like there's a little cuff that you fold. But I don't know, I really struggled with this, not the construction or anything like that. It's just that at the end, when all the pieces were assembled and I had to do that final seam, it was too narrow to go around the arm of my sewing machine. And so I couldn't do it that way. And so I would have had to do it by hand, which, why not? That's fine. But it was going to be a visible, like quite a visible seam, and I didn't think I could get it as neat as I would have liked to if I did it by hand. So I just removed the sort of little cuff thingies and did like a very simple hem for the sleeve. I think if I were to do it again, I might just make the sleeve longer and then have, you know, just like on a shirt, like those cuff with like a button and a little slit. I think I would do that because I kind of wanted to have the sleeve go a bit longer, just in case I wear it under a jumper that's a bit itchy for me, so it would cover my arms. But yeah, I'll just wear it with another jumper. That's fine. It's got a collar like a shirt. That you can see here, like a collar stand and then the collar. It requires a bit of interfacing in there as well as in the button band to make it a bit stiffer. The pattern calls for, what is it called? Like fusible interfacing, the one that you iron on that sort of sticks to your fabric, which I don't have an issue with that kind of interfacing, and I use it all the time for the project bags that I make, for example, because it does give a nice stiffness to things. I'm always just a bit concerned that it's not going to hold well over time on a garment that's being washed repeatedly. So I don't usually use it for clothes. Instead, for clothes, I just use like a bit of a thin white or black cotton, like basic cotton, I guess cotton poplin or something, and so I have like triple layer, and it works just well for me. It doesn't move around because it's sewn in with everything else, and it works really nice. Like it provides the stiffness, and it's not going to go anywhere in the wash, which is exactly what I want. What else about this dress? Oh, there's supposed to be pockets on the skirt. I didn't do the pockets on the skirt. I think the fabric, I find pocket is a bit tricky on a skirt or on a dress because it is very useful, but it can also sort of weigh it down and make it a weird shape. So yeah, I just didn't do the pockets on that. I'm fine with that. And yeah, oh, and I'm very proud of it. First of all, I'm very proud of being able to align the checked pattern, if you can see, because it opens here, obviously. It's a real button band. So here at the top, it's pretty good. The skirt is, I mean, obviously it's not aligned because it's gathered, so it's not the same amount of fabric. It's not aligned really well on this side here, but I don't care because no one's gonna see that. And also I'm really proud of my invisible zipper. I'd never done one before, and it can be a bit tricky, but mine is actually invisible, so it's really good. I'm gonna show you. It's right here. If you can see the little zip thingy, but then you can't see anything here. So yeah, I'm really proud. I found a really nice tutorial online and then just went really slowly on the sewing machine. I very loosely hand sewed it. I think that's how you say it. First, just to sort of attach it to the fabric and so it wouldn't move around, and then just ran it through the machine with the proper presser foot, and it worked just fine. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. I'm out of breath for some reason, I don't know. So yeah, overall I'm really happy with this dress. I think I will reuse this pattern. Like I said in the past, I don't usually tend to knit a pattern several times, but I will sew a pattern several times. Just because if you go through all the trouble of like getting the fit right, you might as well do it again. So yeah, I think I will do it again, probably in different fabrics, but yeah, I really like it. So yeah, that's my my cami dress by Pauline Alice Patterns. Next up, my second item of sewing. I only have two, and the second one I've touched on in a previous, I think the last episode, episode 2, where I was talking about a skirt that I'd made, but I couldn't figure out how long I wanted it to be, and so it'd been sitting in my sewing room just waiting for me to finish it, and I did. So I'm gonna grab it. So here it is, or you can see all those. It is by far not, it is absolutely not perfect, absolutely not. It was the first thing that I ever made, so I guess that was to be expected, but it is definitely not perfect. But I still like it a lot, and I will definitely wear it. So this is based on the Embroidery skirt pattern by So Liberated, I think. I have the pattern here. Yeah, So Liberated. So that's what it is. You may have seen it on Instagram if you follow a bit of like a few sewing accounts, because a lot of people have made it. Lots of variation, like 2 different types of pockets, many lengths, lots and lots of things. But I modified it quite heavily. Although before I go into that, I might just tell you about the fabric. The fabric is a viscose, which again, probably not the best fabric to choose for my first sewing project, because viscose is very drapey and very slippery, and it's definitely not the easiest fabric to work with, although it is really, really nice to wear, and that's one of my favorite kinds of fabric, but yeah, should have known better. So it is, do you call it like a midi length skirt? It gets right under my knee, and just your basic gathered skirt. It doesn't have a zipper. The button band is like a real button band, and that's how you put it on, I guess. The pattern calls for either like applied pockets or like inseam pocket. I didn't do any because, again, like I said, this is a very flowy fabric, and I was afraid it was just gonna weigh it down and make it look weird around the edges. The pattern also calls for the front of the waist is supposed to be like this, but then the back is supposed to be an elastic, so it fits just fine. I don't like skirts that have an elastic around the waist or even just around the back. I find that it creates a lot of gathers at the back, and it makes, you know, those like historic dresses that have like the bum, like the bigger bum. I think it looks like this, and it's not something that I like to wear. So I didn't do it. I also find that elastic, even though it's meant to be, it's often there for comfort, because I guess it can like stretch in and out as like, I don't know, you sit down or you stand up or you like have some food or whatever. But I don't find it comfortable at all. I find that it's always a bit too tight, and I find that finding a good quality elastic that's gonna hold well over time is also really hard. I haven't found one yet. So yeah, I removed the elastic. That's what I want to say. So I removed the elastic. I just did like a normal, or like just a flat, non-stretchy waistband, and it worked really nice. That's interfaced as well. I used a bit of cotton fabric to add a bit of stiffness, I guess. And yeah, I mean, like I said, not the best looking thing, but I will definitely wear it. Like, do you see all that puckering? I think it's because my button bands are not made properly, and yeah, I don't know. When it shows a lot on the camera, but when I wear it, it doesn't show as much, especially when I move. So yeah, the buttons that I used are coconut shell buttons. They're quite common. I used them on the wrong side, I guess you can say, because I don't know if you can see, probably not. I used it like one side is kind of light and then the other side is dark, and I thought the lighter side didn't have enough contrast with the color of the skirt, so I used the other side, which I really like. I don't think I've said the fabrics that I used. This is a viscose Dobby by Atelier Brunet. It's a French fabric maker, but they sell all around the world. It's called Dobby because it has those little dots like woven into the fabric. I bought it at Sew Me Sunshine, which is I think it's only an online fabric store. They're based in London, but they ship all over the place, and they're one of my favorite fabric store when I want to buy fabric for making garment, and when I have to buy online, because it's always tricky. I mean, I guess yarn is a bit the same, is that it's always tricky when you buy it online because you can't really touch it, you can't feel it, you can't see the colors properly because of screens and things, and so yeah, it's quite tricky, and I find that fabric, I really need to touch the fabric to see how it behaves and get a sense of whether it's going to work for my project or not. But this website on Sew Me Sunshine, it's so good because they have extremely detailed descriptions of all the fabric that they have, including the weight of the fabric, including whether it's drapey or not, if it's opaque or not, like all the information that you could want if you can't touch the fabric, basically. So I've ordered several times from them. I've ordered another piece of fabric that I'll show in my acquisitions later. And I've never been disappointed. And then you can always ask for them to send a matching thread, which is nice too. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with this website and really happy with the fabric. Atelier Brunet is one of my favorite, I guess, fabric brand. They're definitely not the cheapest out there, for sure. So I don't always buy from them, but the quality of their fabrics and the colors, and it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Like, yes, it's more expensive, but the quality is also there. So yeah, every now and then as a little treat is always nice. Yeah, so I think that's it. I don't think I'm gonna wear this at the moment. I guess it would be a good like fall, autumn color. I don't think I have anything to wear it with right now. And when I bought it and when I made it, it was always with the intention of it being a summer skirt. So I think that's what it will be. I think I'll just wear it in the summer. I'll make like a white. I could wear it with like a white flowy blouse, or just even a white t-shirt and some white sneakers, or yeah, we'll see. It's one of those projects that I made it and then I didn't like it, and then I let it sit, and then I did the hem, and then I was like, I don't know, and then I let it sit. I was like, actually, it's not bad. I guess I see all the mistakes now that I've made other things and I've made them better now that I've improved. But you know, like, you gotta love your first project. You know, like it's learning anyway. And I mean, I see it because I made it. Any random person on the street probably wouldn't see all of the mistakes. So yeah. All right, that's it for the sewing then. I'm gonna hang this back up and then I'll get my crochet project. All right, so my crochet project, you may have seen it if you follow me on Instagram. I guess I should have said that in the start. You can find me on Instagram at Bobbles Berries. That's where I'm the most active. And so my crochet project is this. It is a little planter or plant pot hanger, or I don't know. You know what I mean. So yeah, I'm just showing it to you now with the plant in it, so you can get a sense of what it looks like, but I will now take it out. I will take the plant out. So it's basically like a teardrop shaped basket. It's very easy to make. I can't remember. I've had the pattern for the base pattern for it because I modified it heavily for a very long time, and I couldn't remember where I got it. I couldn't find the name of whoever made it. So yeah, that's just, so this is what it looks like. Literally just a little basket. Got some increases at the back so to give it that teardrop shape, and then you do a little hook, and yeah, I have it hanging against the wall. So there's a wall here by my window, and it's working really well. So this is crochet. Like I said, it's very, very basic crochet. It's only, I guess you start with a magic circle, which can be a bit tricky at first, but there's plenty of tutorials online. And then you just work in the round doing double crochets, which I think is single crochets if you live in the US, and some increases to create that sort of spine, and then some decreases here on the last row just to bring it in a bit. But yeah, very, very easy. Yeah, very easy. I'm sorry I don't remember what the pattern is or where I found it, but I'll try and put in my Ravelry if I find it again, but if not, I think I found it on Pinterest somewhere. And there's millions of these, like planter, crochet basket, hanging basket. Like if you use those search words, I'm sure you're going to find something. I think I'm going to sneeze soon. No, it's gone. Oh, that's so infuriating. Oh, I feel betrayed by my sneeze. The yarn that I used is some very old acrylic yarn that I had in my stash when I started crocheting, I guess, or even knitting. I think we all kind of did the same. We went for the cheapest yarn. So a lot of it is acrylic, and so this is what I'm using. I was keeping it in one of my project bags. If you're new here, I sew and I embroider project bags that I sell on Etsy. So this is one of them. That's the summer bouquet one. So this is...
I didn't get that. Could you try?
Sorry, my watch thinks I'm talking to it, which I am not. It's very freaky when it does that, doesn't it? So this is the yarn. It's a really nice red. It is, let me see. It is Signet Chunky, 100 grams, 100% acrylic, about 156 meters per 100 grams. I don't know, they call it chunky. And the color is, that's the ball band. And the color is, the shade is 389 Winterberry. Yeah, so it's just like some basic chunky yarn that I've been holding double to make this basket because I really want it to be really big and chunky, and I've been doing it using a 10 millimeter crochet hook. I don't know if it's focusing or not. I can't really see. You're gonna have to believe me if you can't see it. These are the Clover crochet hooks. That's the only one that I'm using. I think it's called Clover Amour or something like that, and they're really good. I have most of the sizes, and that's what I use all the time. They're extremely comfortable on the hands. And when I was crocheting a lot, that was really nice. So yeah, that's what I did for my little planter. Or, and one last thing before I move on to the knitting is that I have a little piece of plastic that I think I got in a package or something, but you could use, like it's the kind of plastic that you would use to cover books, you know, like school books. And so I cut a little bit of it that I put inside like this. Sorry for the crinkling noise. And then I put my plant so that after I've watered it, I don't water the plant in the planter, I take it to the sink, and I let it drain, but it's always a bit damp underneath, you know. So I put this just to protect the planter, and so it doesn't get wet, so it doesn't drip on my wall and things like that, and so it works just fine. At first I thought I was gonna try and sew a plastic lining to the whole thing, but really it would just be a bit of a hassle. I just used this, I put the plant in here and then slide it into the planter, and it works just fine. And I figured that way, if I don't sew it in, if it gets a bit damaged or a bit like dirty over time, I can just switch it and use a new bit of plastic. So yeah, this is my little planter. Now we'll put the plant back in later so I don't fiddle around with it too long. So yeah, that was my crochet, my only crochet project. I will be making more because I have, I think, 3 more plants that I would like to make planters for, and I also have a lot of acrylic yarn that I'd like to get through, just to free up some space. And because honestly, I don't know what else to do. Like even for baby things, a lot of it's chunky too, so it's even more limiting in what you can do with it. And even for like baby knits that I make occasionally as gifts, I tend to go to like superwash wools rather than acrylic, just because I personally don't really like the feel of acrylic, even though like no issues with acrylic. Like if you enjoy knitting with it, that's like, I have no problem with that. I'm not gonna go around and say like, oh yeah, like fancy wool is better than acrylic. No, like every type of yarn has a use and a purpose. For me, I don't really enjoy knitting with it, but it's great for accessories like this, or little decorative items. So yeah, I will make some more and try to go to get through my stash a bit. Whew, I'm gonna have a bit of water because I'm kind of thirsty. I don't know if it's like the weather or what, but I've had a bit of a migraine all week. Not a bad migraine that you can't do anything, but the like nagging thing that is just always there. And I think it's because I don't drink a lot, but I don't really know. Also, you may notice that the light is a bit different. It's so gloomy outside, and I don't have any like filming fancy lights, and I don't know that I want to get some because I don't have a lot of space to store them. And also, I mean, it's autumn in Scotland, so it's darker, so that's just the way it is. But I think it's fine, it's good enough. All right, I've rambled on enough. Let's move into the knitting. So I have one finished object for you, one half finished object, and then one work in progress. My finished object, you've seen it in the previous 2 episodes, so I'm not going to go on and on about it for a very long time, but it is my Donny wrap, or hat, shawl, scarf, whatever you want to call it. It's finally done. I was almost done when I recorded my 2nd episode, and that's all I did after I recorded it, so it got off the needles really quickly after that. And it's blocked and it's all nice. I haven't worn it yet because I didn't want to crumple it, but yeah, there it is. So I'm gonna come closer, see if you can see the pattern a bit. Probably not very well. I've got pictures on Instagram where it looks better, and this is what it looks like blocked and everything. So on one end it's just a square, I guess, up here, and then you alternate plain stockinette section with 2 types of textured section. It's very easy to knit, it's just knits and purls. And then you go on. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna hide behind it. and then on the other end it's a point like this. So you actually start with the pointy bit and do increases, and then you just knit flat and straight up until the end. It's really nice. It's a nice size. It's not, so the pattern is by Kate Davis Designs. I used a finer yarn that she used, like a thinner yarn, a fingering weight. I think she calls for Sport of a DK, and I didn't care much. I just knew it was going to be a bit thinner and a bit shorter, which is fine. I don't mind. You know, it's a shawl, it's a scarf. It doesn't matter much, but it is a good size. I like to wear it either, or when I do wear it, over my shoulders like this, kind of like a shawl when I'm working or something, or you can wear it like really like an actual scarf, you know. But yeah, it was a really fun knit. It's knit flat, so a lot of purling, which was good because my purling tension improved so much. So that was really good. That was really good training for that. Let me see. The yarn that I used is, let me grab it, by Edelweiss Fibers. This is her logo. My friend Mariette. And this is the yarn, and it's her merino linen single ply. It's fingering weight, and the shade is bracken. And I think, I didn't write it down, but I think it's 90% merino and 10% linen, which is really nice because it is warm, but it's not super warm, and it's also very soft from the linen. Like I've said in previous episode, I'm quite sensitive around the neck to yarn. Merino is fine for me, which is why I use that. And yeah, I have no issues with that. It's very drapey. It's very, yeah, I like it. It's very cozy and comfortable. To me, that kind of green is definitely a fall, autumn color. So yeah, I'll be wearing it lots now, especially because I work from home, not because of COVID, but I'm a pattern translator, I'm a tech editor, and I'm self-employed, so I just work from home all the time. And you know, when you sit at your desk and everything, it can be a bit chilly, so I'll just wear this and on my shoulders and be cozy and comfy and get on with work. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it, I think. Oh yeah, one last thing. I said it in the previous episode, but I used 3.5mm needle and then 3mm needle, like the 3.5 on the needle that would get the knit stitches, and then 3 on the needles that would get the pro stitches, because my tension for purling is looser, and it worked just fine. It's very even. It blocked nicely, but the yarn didn't bloom or anything. It's not that kind of yarn. Yeah, no, it worked really nicely. It was really nice to knit. I really enjoyed it. I also enjoyed that the edging, that's the wrong side. The edging is an I-cord, but except when you reach the end, the last row here, that you have to do an I-cord to bind off, all along the thing, you do it as you go. So it's not like you have to go along all of the sides at the end to do an I-cord. That would take forever. You just do it as you go, and it works really well. And I really like it. So yeah, that was another good thing about this pattern. But yeah, definitely recommend. I'll have all the links to my Ravelry project pages, and the designers and the yarns that I use and all of this down in the description below. So if you want to have a look, you can go there. I have 18 grams of yarn left. My original plan was to knit until I ran out, but 18 grams wasn't enough to do sort of like a section, and I would have stopped in a weird spot in the pattern. So I decided to stop, do the I-cord, bind off, and then now I have 18 grams, which is not so bad. It's like a mini, and I think I might be able to make like a tiny newborn baby hat or something out of it. One of my cousins is going to have a baby soon, so I think that'll probably make a nice gift. So yeah, I'll have a look. Actually, if you know some good like baby patterns that you can recommend, then can you please let me know in the comments below, especially like newborn things, or like 2-3 month, or yeah, something like that. that would be great. I would be very grateful. So yeah, so that's my finished object for knitting. I actually have another one, but I'm not gonna show it to you right now because it's a Christmas present, and I don't know that the person that it's for, who it's for, is watching this or not. So I'll save it for now. I have another, like I'm gonna show you 2 works in progress, but I have another 2 that are also Christmas presents and that I don't want to show. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'll do a bit of a Christmas special episode where I'll show my gift knits, because I have, I think, 5 knitting things and 1 sewing things that I want to make as gifts. And I guess that will be like a short episode, and I can film that before it's being gifted, and then I'll publish the video after it's been gifted, and so then you can see it, because it's really fun and I really want to share it with you, but the people who are receiving those gifts don't see it before they get it. So yeah, I think I'll do that. All right, my second knitting project, it's a half finished object, and I always find it funny because everyone in podcast says that, and I'm always like, oh, that's a sock then. And yeah, it is a sock. Because I guess it could be mittens, but a lot of the time it's socks. And so it's these socks, which I really like. It's not blocked yet. So this is a pair of vanilla socks in fingering weight. I know I've been raving in my past episodes about DK weight socks, and now I'm doing a fingering weight, but that's because I'm using a sock set by the lovely Helen. I hope I'm not remembering her name wrong, of Giddy Yarn. She's a lovely yarn dyer in Scotland. She's based in Dundee. And she has a lovely podcast called Giddy Knits, if you want to check it out. Really, really nice. And she does vlogs sometimes where she shows how she dyes yarns and all of that. So it's really, really fun. It's one of my favorite podcasts. And back in September, I went to the Perth Yarn Festival, and she was there, and that's where I bought the yarn. And this sock set is a bit special in that it's a smaller one. It's not one where you get 100 grams of the main color and then 20 grams of the mini. It's one when you get a 20 gram mini, but a 50 gram main color, if that makes sense. Which means I couldn't do a DK because that would not have been enough yarn to make a pair of DK socks, but definitely enough to make fingering weight, and it's completely fine. And I was really curious to see how much I actually have left at the end, because if I make a pair of fingering weight yarn socks for me, I usually use about like 65 grams, and then I have all that yarn left over, and you can always find things to do, but I kind of like finishing a project and not having a lot of leftovers. So I was like, oh, well, if I have a 50 gram main and a 20 gram mini, that's 70, and I usually use about 65, I should have barely anything left. And I think that's going to be the case, because I have one sock done, and then the other sock I'm nearly done. I think I have about 13 rounds left on the foot and then the toe. So this is the second one. It doesn't look like much, but yeah, it's a sock. And I only have this much yarn left, which I don't know exactly how much that is. Hold on, I've got my scale here. Let me see. I have 10 grams of the main left, and I only need to do like 13 rounds with it. So I don't know how much that would be, but I'm thinking like maybe I'm gonna have 7 or 8 grams left at the end, which is really good. And then I've got a tiny bit of the mini left to do the toe, which is more than enough. It's exactly what I need. So yeah, the colorway is called Lycan, I want to say, or Lycan. It's Lycan. I've only seen this word written, so I don't know how to pronounce it. It's her Halloween colorway for this year, and it's really pretty. It's like an ochre gold mini, and then all these warm autumnal shades for the main color. I'm doing my usual heel flap and gusset. I did a slip stitch heel flap, and then I always do a band of garter on the end because it looks nice and it makes picking up your stitches a lot faster. Knitted cuff down, and then I do my round toe as always. So yeah, I'm very excited about these. I'm so close to being done on the other one. I was trying to get it done before recording, and then I was like, you know what? What's the point? Like, there's no need to rush. But I think it will be done by the end of the weekend. Today's Saturday, or even possibly by the end of the day, because I think I can get it done while I edit this podcast. And yeah, I'm really excited because I feel like lately all the socks that I've made have been for gifts. So I'm happy to have one just for me. What else can I say about this? Yeah, not much. I use 2.5mm needles, 9-inch circulars. That's how I make my socks. But yeah, everyone is different. But yeah, that's how I like making them. So I think that's it for that. I'm going to show you the bag that they're in. I keep them in another one of my bags. This is in the small size. It's great for socks. And this is Maisie and Daisy. Maisie and Daisy. All right, so that's WIP, half finished object, knitting project number 2. One last knitting project, and then we'll move on to acquisitions. So the last one, you've seen it before, and I've had so many lovely comments about this one, and about the yarn especially, because it's such beautiful yarn, and I totally agree with you, it's such beautiful yarn. I'm keeping it in this big project bag. It's a jumper. This is not, I sewed this bag, but it was embroidered by my dad. I love it. I'm obsessed with mushrooms. I am completely obsessed with mushrooms. I don't forage them because I don't know. I love mushrooms. I don't know much about them, and I'm terrified of like killing myself basically. So yeah, anyway, that's random. And so here is my project. I need to change. I bought new end protector needle stopper because these, like, they're good, but they're a bit old, and so they're not holding on to it very well anymore. So now I bought the foam cocoa knits, and they're really good. I really like them. Anyway, so this is my no frills sweater by Petite Knit. I'm gonna sneeze again. Oh, sorry. So that's so weird because sneezing on camera now. So that's my no frills sweater by Petite Knit. It's a bit crumpled because it's in the bag. So I think the last time I showed you, I don't know, maybe like down to here. I was on the raglan increases, but I hadn't done a lot of them. And since then I have finished the raglan increases and divided for the sleeves, and then done a little bit of the body, like this much of the body. I'm loving this. I'm absolutely loving knitting on that. I should have put it on a longer cable for you guys. I completely forgot. I absolutely love knitting on it. I tried it on before dividing for the sleeves just to make sure that the fit was right. And it worked. So yeah, and then now I just need to finish the body and then do the sleeves. But I think this one is going to be put aside for a little bit while I do some Christmas stuff, and then I'll come back to it. The yarn that I used is this. Oh, my laps are not big enough. Is this beautiful cone by Jamieson and Smith. It's 100% Shetland wool, and the shade is, what is the shade? 1285. It's their 2-ply jumper weight, and it's amazing. It's the perfect fall shade. It just is. It's really, really nice to knit with. It's a fingering weight kind of yarn. And the pattern for the no frills, I think, is actually, I was a bit confused because on Ravelry it says that it's fingering. It says lace plus fingering equals fingering, but it's not. I think it's maybe a problem with the website. It's more like a DK when you look at the gauge, and so that meant that I had to do a bit of tweaking. And I explained it all in my previous episode, but basically I did some math and I want something that fits me. Like the size that I want in the end would be somewhere between the extra small and the small, but because my gauge is off because I'm using a thin yarn and I'm also a tight knitter, then I had to knit a few sizes up. So I'm knitting the size large, but if all goes well, and I think it is because it's going well because I tried it on and it's just fine, I should have a finished garment that's between the extra small and the small. So yeah, it's working really well. It's very enjoyable. It's just stocking it. It's a vanilla raglan sweater really. So it's a lot of stockinette now in the round, which I absolutely love. I really miss knitting on it, but I wanted to get those Christmas stuff done first because some of them I have to send back home to France, and I don't know, like I want to send them sooner than later, rather than later, because the post is a mess around Christmas. Understandably, there's so much work for the posties, but yeah. So yeah, it's like I said in my last episode, because it's on a cone, the yarn still has a bit of spinning oil on it, which does not make it unpleasant to work with at all. It's not greasy. It's like a dry oil probably. It's not greasy at all. It's actually quite nice. It's a bit rough on the fingers, but it's rustic yarn, so that's what you get. But the fact that there's a bit of oil on it still is really nice because it sort of sticks the two plies together, and so the yarn never splits. Ever. I haven't had that issue at all. And then when you wash it, it just blooms. You can see it, you can see it with your eyes. The second you put it in the water, it blooms. It's so nice. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'm knitting it on 3.5mm needles using my Chow Goose because that's the only needles that I own, and not the only needles that I love because I haven't tried the other one, but they worked really well for me, and I don't feel the need to have many pairs of needles. So I have most of the sizes. I have the Chow Goose in most of the sizes, lots of cables, and that's what I knit things with. So yeah, I'm hoping that I will have it done by the next podcast at the end of November. I'm hoping. Don't hold me to it, but I'm hoping to be able to do that. So yeah, I like it. And I find that when I put it against my neck like this, like I said before, I'm quite sensitive to itchy yarn, but it doesn't feel itchy. It feels prickly, definitely, but it's not like it's just there. It's not like I don't feel like I need to scratch my neck and I need to like scratch my skin and I'm gonna be red and any of this. It's just a bit prickly, and I think that will probably soften up quite a bit in the wash. So that might actually be a yarn that I could wear next to skin, which would be really nice. But if not, I'm currently making myself some white button shirts just to wear under jumpers like this. So that will be fine. But yeah, my no frills jumper, which will hopefully be done the next time I film a podcast. All right, so that was all of my makes, I guess, my projects, my knitting, my sewing, my crochet. Sorry. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I am going to, let me see what I'm going to do next. I'm going to move into acquisitions then. I have, if you follow me on Instagram, you will probably know that I went to a yarn festival this month. There was one in Glasgow. So I'm in Edinburgh, so Glasgow, when you get on the train, it's about an hour. It's really not far, very easy. So I thought I'd go. I'm not the kind of person who's gonna like go to all the yarn festivals. I don't even know that some people do that, but I will go if it's within like public transport, easy distance from me, and it can just be like a day trip kind of thing, then I will go if it's close enough. So in September I went to Perth, and the same, that was an hour and 15 on the train, so I could like, you know, go in the morning and be back in the afternoon. Glasgow is the same. I'm hoping that they're bringing back EYF next spring, Edinburgh Yarn Festival, because I've never been and I would really like to go, and being in Edinburgh it's very easy for me. But yeah, anyway, so I went to the Glasgow Yarn Festival called Glasgow School of Yarn. It was really, really nice. I think it's the first time, like obviously they've had to cancel it for a couple of years now because of COVID. But I think it didn't happen for a few years before that too, just I don't really know the reasons. But it was on this year, and so I got my ticket. So you had to book a ticket for a time slot, which is how they worked with the COVID restrictions and all of this and safety measures. It was so well organized. It felt so safe. Everyone was wearing masks inside. You had to check in on your phone at the venue and then check out when you left. All the vendors had like masks. The organization was really on point. It felt really safe. From my perspective, it ran very smoothly. I don't know about the organizers, what they thought, but yeah, it was brilliant. I really, really had a good time. And so I bought some yarn. And so I'm going to show you what I got. And I'm also going to show you some fabrics that I got, not at the yarn festival, obviously, but that I bought online. So I'm going to get my acquisition tray. And so here we go. Oh, so when I think it was called like the deluxe tickets or something. It was a bit of an early bird ticket, so you could go in a bit early. It was slightly more expensive than the regular tickets, but I wanted to go on the Saturday morning because then my husband and I had other plans for the afternoon. And so that's the only ticket I could get for that. And so you got little goodies, which was nice. And I'm going to show you some of them, or like one of them, I guess, which is really fun. And it's those little, all right, this is not going to work. Let's do this. It's stitch markers in the shape of a traffic cone. And you may or may not know this, but the traffic cone is a bit of an emblem in Glasgow, or of Glasgow. There's this big statue that I don't know the whole story, but I think some years ago, like someone climbed on top of that statue and put a traffic cone on its head, and then it stayed there. And so now I guess like traffic cones are associated with Glasgow, and so they gave us like three cute little stitch marker, which I think is hilarious. So I love that. And then the yarn that I got is this. So I looked at the vendors before going, and I went there with a bit of a list of what I wanted, because I also didn't want to buy all the yarn because I don't have all the money and I don't have all the space. So I had an idea of what I wanted. So the first thing that I wanted and that I was able to get is another yarn by Giddy Yarns, which is the dyer. I'm using her dye her yarn for the socks that I was showing you. So Giddy Yarn, the dyer Helen from Dundee, and she makes the most beautiful self-striping. And she winds those by hand. All of them she winds by hand. I was watching, she had a week in October vlog where she was doing a little vlog every day in like just a week before going to Glasgow. So like all her preparation for the festival. And she winds them all by hand. It's so much work. And they're so beautiful. So that's her Halloween colorway, and it's called Chaotic Cauldron. It's a 75/25 superwash merino nylon, 425 meters per 100 gram. So just a sock yarn, but it's the most beautiful one. So yeah, I really like it. I guess I don't know that I'm gonna need it now because Halloween is tomorrow, but definitely have those ready for next year. absolutely. And I might actually try. I never knit toe up, but I think I might try and do that just so I can use up all the yarn, and also because I think it'd be fun to have really tall socks for Halloween. I don't know. But yeah, absolutely love it. So I'm looking forward to knitting with that. Another sock yarn that I got was the booth right next to hers, and it's the little gray girl. And it's again one of those 20 gram sets, which I really like. It's also self-striping. I guess you can't really tell how it's going to look, or maybe you can. I can't usually tell by just looking at the skein what it's going to look like, but she had a sample knit up and it looked really, really nice. So you have all those colors here, and then you have a contrasting gray, which I think is perfect. And this is, I'm going to let you read the name of it because I don't know how to pronounce that. Yep. I don't know. High twist self-striped sock set, 75-25. The 50 gram skein has 212 meter, and then the 20 gram has 85. So yeah, I've never used her yarn before. I think she's in Scotland. I think she's in Scotland as well. Yeah, I really like it. And she had that set of 10 gram minis. I think there were 7 of the nicest, like deepest rainbow colors. It was so nice. Like, you know, that kind of depth that you get sometimes when you use a yarn that has yak in it, like really deep colors. And I absolutely loved it. And I was like, do I buy it? Don't I buy it? I don't know. And then I ended up not getting it just because I don't know what to do with minis. I never know what to do with them. But if one day I find the perfect pattern that calls for minis, then I'll definitely go and buy it from her website. That's the second thing that I got at the Yarn Fest, a sock set by the little grey girl, which I can't wait to knit. I love self-striping. It's so, like, it's a bit addictive, but in a good way. Like, oh, I'm just going to do another stripe, or I'm just going to wait until the next color comes up. And yeah, it's really fun. All right, another thing that I got from the Yarn Fest is these 2 beautiful skein. I have not been able to get the color to look right on any photo or anything. It is right enough here, it's just a lot more vibrant, like more like a petrol blue kind of color. It's absolutely beautiful. And I bought 2 of these because I want to make a shawl for a Christmas present, and I needed 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn. And I think the person I'm making these for will really like that color. She's more into like jewel tones. Like, that's maybe not, it's a bit too bright for the colors that I like, but I think that's a color that she would like. And so it's by a dyer called Ripples Craft. They're in the Highlands in Scotland, and this colorway is called a Summer Swim. The yarn is Sylvan 4-ply yarn. Again, not really sure how to say those words. And it is, so it's fingering weight, it's 366 meters per 100 gram, 60% wool, 20% yak, and 20% silk. And the wool content is merino. So as you can imagine, it's incredibly soft. And I think it will be perfect. And yeah, so that will be a Christmas present. And so I'll show you what I make with it in the Christmas video. So that's another thing that I got at the festival. And then the last thing is, you will have seen it when I held up the tray. It's another cone. I love cones of yarn so much. This is by Iona Wool. I've talked about Iona Wool in my very first episode because we went, my husband and I went to Iona in this summer. It's a small island in like the Scottish islands on the west coast, and they have sheep, and so they make wool out of their sheep, and they have all sorts of breeds. And so this silver one is their undyed one, and so they combine like the whiter colored sheep and the darker ones, and so that makes a gray. And so when I went in the summer, I bought 2 skeins of their DK yarn in the silver, so in that color. And I absolutely love them. I haven't used them yet because I'm waiting for the pattern that I want to use them for to be released, which I should receive the little book. It's a pattern from this year's Shetland Wool Week book, and I should receive it very soon. But I just love it, and so I wanted to get a cone. And when I saw that they were at Glasgow, I was like, oh, that is amazing. I'm going and I'm buying this cone. I would have ordered it online otherwise, but you know, an excuse to go to a yarn festival. Oh dear, like I need any. So yeah, it's this beautiful cone. It's DK weight, 500 grams of gorgeous yarn that smells like a sheep. It really smells. It smells very strong. Oh my god, it's like living on a farm. Yeah, so it's their IW5, and I think those skeins that I bought this summer were IW3, and I think what that means is that they name them after the year, like it's the batch basically. So IW5 was saying, the guy was saying it was their latest batch, like the one from this year, and I'm guessing the IW3 was the like 2 batches ago, which is probably like, I don't know, how often do you shear sheep? Is it like once a year or twice a year? Maybe like spring and autumn? I don't know. Clearly not a shepherd here. But yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet. Definitely a jumper. I just need to find the right pattern, but I can't wait. Especially a lovely silver gray like this, it would go with everything. You know, like I could make a jumper and wear it like on top of this and it would look really nice. But yeah. So yeah, that's the last yarn acquisition from the festival and from the month really. I've been quite reasonable, I think. So that's the yarn that I got. Another acquisition, which is like knitting related, but it's not yarn, and I've showed it on Instagram, is this. That's an early Christmas present for myself, and it is a knitting ring. I think you can call it a thimble too. And this is what it looks like. I wanted to show it to you. Maybe if I put it in front of my dress, it'll show better. So this is a ring that you would use for color work. So you would put it on your finger, like so, like where you usually hold your yarn. So I'm a continental knitter and I'm left-handed, so I hold my yarn on my right index finger. And so you would have it like this, and then you can feed your strands of yarn through the holes, like your different colors, and then you just go and knit, and then you just pick up whatever color you need, and that means that the yarns don't get tangled, and that also means that you can regulate the tension really well. I've wanted one of these for quite a while, but the only ones that I could see had only 2 holes, which I guess is fair. Like most color work patterns, you only use 2 colors at a time. It's more rare that you need to do 3 or even 4. But I've only heard like not the greatest reviews about them. They didn't look like the most comfortable to wear and to use, and I don't know, I wasn't really enthusiastic about these. But then I saw this one, I don't remember where, I think on Instagram probably, and I was like, oh, this looks amazing, this is perfect. I'm gonna get one. The only thing is it comes from Finland. It's made by a jeweler in Finland. It's handmade out of silver, so it's more like jewelry really. And I couldn't find anyone else who made it possibly a bit closer to me, like in the UK or something like that. And so because it's handmade, it's a bit more expensive. I'm absolutely not saying that it's too expensive for what it is, because it is really not. But it's more expensive than like the one, like a wire one that you would buy from Prim or something. And shipping is also a bit more expensive because it's coming from farther out. So I've been eyeing this for a long time, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy it. It's gonna be my Christmas present, and yeah. and shipping was super fast. I ordered it and it was here like from the time that I ordered it, I got it here a week later, and I think maybe like 3 days after I got the dispatch notification. So really, really impressed. And yeah, it's really, really lovely. I will leave the link to her store. It's an Etsy store down below in the description. But yeah, I haven't used it for color work yet, just because I don't have a color work project on the needles right now. But I have used it with just a single strand running through, just to get used to it. And it doesn't like, it takes a minute to get used to it, obviously, because it's not how I usually knit. But it's really not difficult. The only thing is that I have to hold my yarn a bit different, because I usually like wrap it around my pinky, but it makes it complicated with that. So I'm just like running it through my fingers, which actually is not bad because it makes my tension a tiny bit looser. And because I'm such a tight knitter, I always have issues with gauge on patterns. And so I'm thinking, if I learn to knit like this, with or without the thimble, the ring, then I might not have like, if overall my gauge was I was a bit of a looser knitter, that would probably make my life a bit easier when I start working on a new pattern, because I don't need to do all the math. So yeah, that is that. It comes in a nice, it comes in a nice little jewelry box. And then with their card, I guess she knits. I mean, to be fair, I think most people in Finland knit, but she's a jeweler, so she also has other jewelry. So yeah, that's all my acquisitions for the knitting. And for the sewing, I'm just going to show you a couple of fabrics that I bought. So the first one is this one. I don't know if you can see. It's a bit of a textured cotton. It's quite, I don't know how to show this. It's quite see-through, not see-through, but it's a bit sheer. But I bought this to make a shirt, like a button shirt, sort of like the one that I showed you in the last episode, to wear underneath like itchy jumpers. So I don't know what pattern I'm going to use. I don't think I'm going to use the same one I've done before, just because I have other ones that I want to try. But yeah, it's plain cotton. It has a texture to it, but it's just cotton. And I bought it from Fabric Galore, which is where I bought this fabric. And I really like it. I've overlocked the raw edges, I've washed it, and now it's ready to iron and sew. So that's one fabric. And then the second fabric that I have is this one, which I absolutely love. And it's another one by Atelier Brunette, the same fabric brand where I got the fabric for my yellow skirt that I showed earlier. And it's just stunning. It's their new collection, and when I saw it, I was like, oh, I need some of that. And so I was, every day I was checking Sew Me Sunshine to see if they had it in stock, because obviously being in the UK, they don't get their stock. It's the same time as the French shops. But they had it really quickly, and then right away I ordered 1.5 meters, and I'm gonna make a skirt out of it. I think I have a pattern in mind. I'll show you when I get to actually making it, but it's just stunning. It's a viscose twill, so it's viscose, but it's a bit thicker than I guess the regular viscose, and then it's because it's twill, it has the diagonal weave, which is really nice. I absolutely love it. I think it's stunning. So yeah, so that's my fabric acquisition. I can't wait to sew with them. It's just, I need to find the time, because for some reason I don't mind, like when I knit something, I know it's going to take a long time, and when I need to stop, I stop. That's not a problem. But when I sew, I just want to get it done, and so I forget to take a break, I forget to go eat, I forget to go to the toilet, I forget everything. I'm just so focused on the sewing. So usually I like to do it on a weekend, on a day that I know I don't have really any plans, and just do that. So yeah, possibly in the next episode I will have this one done, because I really like the fabric, and I kind of would like to have it to wear at Christmas probably. So we'll see. I'm gonna put this down now. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this up, I think, very soon because my brain is coming back. And also because I've shown you everything that I wanted to share with you. I'm gonna move to the giveaway, which is the fun part and I guess the important part of this episode. So I wanted to do a giveaway just to say thank you and to sort of celebrate the 500 subscribers milestone. And I was looking at what prizes or what things I could have for the giveaway, and one obvious thing that was like, well, I'm gonna give away one of my bags, my project bag, so that's gonna be one thing. But then I wanted to add something else, and so I wanted to add yarn. And before going out and buying some yarn, I was like, you know what, I have a stash and I have things that I know I'm not really using in that stash, so maybe I could find a beautiful skein from there and give it away to someone who will love it and enjoy knitting with it. So this is what I got for you. So the yarn is this. It's a yarn by, Sherry Iris hand-dyed yarn. She's one of my absolute favorite yarn dyers in the UK. I'm getting her advent calendar this year. I have lots of her yarn here and I've used some already. It's absolutely brilliant, absolutely stunning, gorgeous, everything. And this I got back in June when I was subscribed to her monthly mystery box. And I love it. The only thing is that purple is not my color. It's not a color that I enjoy knitting with or wearing. So I figured instead of like keeping this and then knitting it as a gift for someone, but maybe not enjoy the process as much as I would with another color of yarn, I would give it away to one of you because I know other people do like purple. And that way the yarn will get the love it deserves. So there you go. So you would get the big skein, which is 100 gram, 425 grams of sock yarn, 75-25, and it's got purples and pinks and greens, and then it comes with a matching mini that has some of the purple but then some gold and browns, which is really lovely. So yeah, so you will get that if you win. You will get that, which I'm really excited to be able to give it to someone who's going to give it the love it deserves. And then you will also get one of my bags. You will be able to choose whatever size you want. So either medium or small, you tell me. And then you can choose any one of my designs. So you will have, there's Summer Bouquet, let me see, with the poppies and the lavender and the little bumblebee. There's Maisie and Daisy that I showed earlier. There is bumblebees with a little beehive. There is, there's hair everywhere. Autumn Bouquet, lovely autumn colors. And there is Scottish Wildflowers, the thistle and the heather and the cow parsley. Yeah. So yeah, the lucky winner will get one bag and the yarn. To enter, just simply, well, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can see when I post the next video and announce the winner, and also leave me a comment below. Yeah, just leave a comment, say anything you want. If you know, like if you win and you know which bag you would like already, then let me know in the comment below, so that will make it easier whenever I pick the winner, like which design and which size. And then yeah, or if you don't know, then let me know where you're watching from or what you're working on or anything like that. Just a comment so that I can then use a random comment generator or something like that, and then pick a winner that way. So yeah, that is for the giveaway. I'm so excited to be sending it to you. What I'll do is that I'll announce the winner the next episode, and then I will need a bit of time to actually make the bag, and then I'll ship things to you after that, but we'll sort this out later. And yeah, so that is the giveaway, and I think that's the end of the episode. one tiny last thing is a shop update. So I'm doing a shop update in November. It will be my last shop update of 2021 because I will be taking December off. All the 5 designs that I showed you will be available in both medium and small sizes, and to purchase from my Etsy shop, I will leave the link below. And the shop update will be on Friday, the 5th of November at 5 p.m. British time, which is GMT, because by then we'll have switched to winter hours. So yeah, Friday, 5th of November, 5 p.m. GMT British time is when the shop update will go live. I will have one listing in my shop where you can, and that listing will have all the designs and all the sizes, and then you can just choose whichever combination you want, and then I will make those bags for you once you've purchased them. And then my goal is to try and make them as quickly as possible after the orders come in, to hopefully, because usually I make them, like I sell them at the beginning of the month, then I make them, then I ship them at the end of the month. But I would like to try and ship them sooner rather than later this November, just to try and beat the like Black Friday, Christmas postage mail craziness. That would, like delays everything all the time. So I will do my best. No promises, but I really want to do that, and I will do my best to ship them as quickly as I can, and make them as quickly as I can. Obviously, it's all a bit dependent on work because this is not my full-time job. But yeah, I'll do my best. All right, I think that is it. I think I've said everything I wanted to say, and if I've forgotten stuff, then I guess it's too late now. I'll remember later, and yeah, I'll just write it down below if there's something important. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sticking around so long. I guess an hour and 20 is the norm for my podcast, which a lot of you have said you enjoyed longer podcasts. So that's brilliant. And like I said, there's timestamps. So if you want to watch it in smaller chunks, that's also easily doable. But yeah, I'm just waffling on now. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and leave a comment and leave a thumbs up. That is really lovely for me, and that also helps my channel grow. It helps YouTube pick it up and then share it with other people who might enjoy it. So it's always wonderful to do that. And yeah, I will see you next time. If you have any question, leave it in the comment. I always answer comments. And that's it. I'm gonna stop talking now. Have a good rest of your day. I will talk to you next time. Thank you so much again for watching. Bye bye.